Jesus freak here. I wound up somewhat having to defer to the experts since my my own faith tradition with its value on apostolic succession doesn't really get into the issue that comes up from the traditional translation associated with Matthew 16:19. And having looked at several of these Bibles to try to come up with an idea of what people outside my faith tradition were saying about this verse, since obviously it's a verse that the Church of Rome's supporters, who use it to support the Pope, the papal lineage, are going to keep throwing at us. And the general consensus seems to be that instead of saying, if you unlock something on earth, it'll be unlocked in heaven, and if you lock something on earth, it'll be locked in heaven, it's actually a prophetic utterance that he's going to lock things up on earth that will, at that point, have been locked in heaven. And he's going to unlock things on earth that will, at that point, have been unlocked in heaven. This relies on some specifics of tense, apparently, that got somewhat neutered in Latin translation and furthermore in English translation. Naturally, one of the few Bibles that seems to avoid following the traditional translation, which tends to slavishly follow the Latin Vulgate in its uses of tense, is the Christian Standard Bible. Now, if I'm going to understand what they're trying to get at, now, this is just conjecture, but they seem to be indicating that Jesus is predicting that Peter will be the means by which God's will is done on earth as it is in heaven. You know, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So rather than a grant of authority, it's just a prophecy. And this has been somewhat muddled by the Latin Vulgate. I tend to say the Vulgate's good in the Old Testament. It can be somewhat questionable in the New. But it's been a major influence on Bible translations, not only in English, in other Western languages too. I just figured I'd try to resolve this issue since it frequently comes up. And it's been a problem question for me for years, owing to the fact that Methodists don't know what to do with it. But here's one possible answer. With this interpretation, i.e., that we're talking about a prophecy, it finds its fulfillment in Acts 10 with Peter preaching to Cornelius. And with the Holy Spirit falling on the Gentiles at the end of the chapter. This is basically the converse of the traditional Roman interpretation. Again, this is just conjecture, but since so many different theologians seem to interpret it this way, there might be something to it. Jesus freak out.